Morning, mortals of the realm of Terra. I am Kingdom Meservy, also known as Master Serv, and it is my great pleasure to be here with you. I am a member of the Vulktyramous Clan as a creature of Rye, and I've been sent here today by the request of James Quinlan Meservy for a very special treat for you. I'm going to read an excerpt, first couple of pages, of the prologue of Denizens Among Us. Now, the prologue here of Denizens Among Us does not occur on the realm of the light. It occurs on a different realm of mortality, the realm of Buz-Perr-Addock, and it features a good friend of mine, creature of Rye, member of the Wolf Clan, Svet-Lan-Addock. So let's get started on this prologue and see how far we get. Prologue. Svet-Lan-Addock opened her eyes as the sun warmed her face, surprised to find herself alone in her room. She stayed in bed, drifting between alertness and unconsciousness, enjoying the peace and quiet. Even though she loved being a mother, she greatly appreciated those rare few moments of silence. Kind of a weird thing for a denizen. Svet-Lan-Addock, in mortality, you may not have known this, she was a denizen, and so she could not have any children, and yet she loved being a mother. I already know how, and you probably have already guessed how she ended up being a mother, but let's continue reading James's words anyway. First thing she did upon getting out of bed was to kneel and pray unto the light. You see, I never did that. I don't believe that I ever needed to, but Svet-Lan-Addock, she's always been a member of the Defenders of the Light, and she's a good friend of mine, and that's great. And that's awesome, and that worked really well for her, and she's really happy with her decision. So let's continue with her mode of speaking. She thanked him for providing her with a husband whom she loved with all her heart. She expressed her gratitude for being able to adopt and raise her children. Ah, see, I told you we'd find out about the children. Grateful for the home that they owned, the beds they slept in, the clothes on their back, and the food. And in prayer, she asked the light to touch the heart of her mother, Hyrule Rainmaker. Now, Hyrule's one of those creatures of Rye that I've never gotten along with. I don't necessarily have anything wrong with centaurs in general, but I do have something wrong. I do not get along with Hyrule. She's one of those pushy members of the threat that just bow to me, bow to my master, do as I say. We never got along, but she wasn't my mother, she is Svet-Lan-Addock. Let's return to the story. In prayer, she asked the light to touch the heart of her mother, Hyrule Rainmaker, and to guide her mother to the truth and the peace of following the teachings and example of the light. Yes, I do admit that following the teachings of the light is far more peaceful than following the chaos of the threat. She prayed, Svet-Lan-Addock prayed, that all her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren would have a safe and joyful day. A very loving woman she always has been, even in mortality, as James very clearly points out in his book. She asked a special blessing to be with her youngest daughter, who was getting over a head cold, and her oldest living son, who was fighting a losing battle with Alzheimer's. Now that's kind of weird. How does she have children so young and yet so old at the same time? Oh, I already know that. Let's see if James actually tells you. She ended her prayer with the same phrase her father taught her when she was a child. I love thee, O light, and live to serve thee until the day I die. These blessings I ask, as well as any other thou seest fit to bestow upon me and my family at this time. In thy holy name, amen. All right. We can go for a little bit longer, I suppose. When she finished her prayer, she continued to kneel in silent contemplation. The period of pondering after prayer was another one of the reasons her father taught her in childhood. Whenever she got up immediately after prayer, her father asked her how she expected to receive answers from the light if she did all of the talking. Therefore, she remained kneeling, giving herself time to listen for the response of the light. Most of the time, the only answer she ever received was a warm and peaceful feeling that consumed her soul. This morning was no exception. That seemed pretty wise of me. If I'm internalizing this a little bit, if you will. If I'm having a conversation with a Strasme, and I'm asking her a question about myself, how do I know what she has to say if I don't listen? Svet-Lan-Addock knelt beside her bed and thought of her mother. She realized it had been at least a generation since her mother had appeared on the realm of Buz-Perr-Addock, and she wondered if her mother had given up on ever persuading anyone on the mortal realm to serve her cause. Even though her mother served the thread, Svet-Lana felt that she had some light deep inside. Svet-Lana could not believe that she was born to a female of pure, unadulterated darkness, and she deeply loved her mother despite her mother's choosing to follow a different path. I know Hyrule. It wouldn't surprise me at all if she had a pure, unadulterated darkness within her soul. But Svet-Lana loved her mom. Svet-Lana stood up and stretched, and then went to her closet and pulled out one of her dresses. Like most people on the realm of Buz-Perr-Addock, she chose to wear plain, loose-fitting white clothing. Now, for the sake of how long this video is going, I am going to pause there with that excerpt, but I will consider doing another reading as Arctyrus or Kestrel requests.